1998, Pacific Ocean. Quiet night, calm water. I was on a US Navy destroyer, just another boring patrol watching sonar. Then our tow cable came back up looking like something had bitten through solid steel. A few hours later, something huge hit our ship from below. Hard. Men fell. Lights flickered. And then I saw its head in the floodlights. Teeth bigger than my arm. They told us to call it a collision in the report. You still want to know what was really under our ship that night. So before we continue, please make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel and comment down below where you're watching from. Thanks. This was late summer 1998, Western Pacific. Couple hundred miles east of Guam, nothing out there but blue water and sky. Calm seas, good visibility. Easy money, we thought. I was a sonar tech on the Farragut, guided missile destroyer. DDG number that does not matter. She was home, gray, ugly, and solid. We were not at war. Closest we had to action was some joint drills, some flight ops with the bird drivers, and the real reason we were out there testing a new towed sonar array for deep work near a trench. Some science project bolted onto a warship. You want the cast? Captain was Commander Alex Rourke, late 40s. Gulf War guy, straight back, calm voice. Believed in checklists and physics, never raised his voice unless he meant it. Crew trusted him, I did too. Sonar officer was Lieutenant Maya Cortez, early 30s. Sharp eyes, sharp ears, sharper attitude when someone screwed up the plot. There was something dark in her record. Some submarine accident talk. We never got the full story. We all knew better than to ask. Chief Petty Officer Henry Dillard. Everyone called him Hank, Old Salt. Late 40s. Skin coat by sun and salt. He carried sea stories the way other people carried scars. Some were funny. Some made us quiet. We also had a civilian aboard. Dr. Aaron Nakamura, oceanographer, early 40s. Japanese-American. Short, serious, glasses, always had a notebook. She was there for the trench mapping and to see what the new array could do. Calm, practical. Did not go in for sea monster stories. At first, medical was Corpsman James Price, mid-20s. Fast hands. Fast jokes when things got ugly. Every ship loves its dock. We were no different. That morning was smooth. I remember standing bridge watch just before my sonar shift. Horizon clean all around. Light breeze. Sea rolled gentle under the hull. Navigation was doing its checks. Radar was boring. Just us, sky, and the occasional blip from a far ship or plane. Standard radio traffic. Nothing spicy. Captain Rourke stood near the windows, hands behind his back, eyes on the water. "How's our science project doing?" he muttered to the officer of the deck. "Array is streaming fine, Captain. Nakamura wants another pass along the trench edge," the OOD said. Rourke grunted. "Of course she does." He was not angry. Just that mild officer annoyance when someone adds extra work to a patrol that should have been simple. But he was a company man. Orders were orders. Down in sonar, Cortez and Nakamura were already busy. I relieved the watch and slid on the headset. Green glow. Screens. The usual soft hum. The towed array data scrolled in slow waves. "You boys ready to chase ghosts?" Cortez asked. "Long as we get paid the same," I said. Nakamura smiled. "We are mapping a trench that drops deeper than most whales ever go. Might be something new down there." "Like a kraken," one of the other techs said. "Or tax paperwork," I added. Cortez snorted. "Relax. If anything big comes close, we will hear it before it eats us." We joked about sea monsters. It was light. Nobody meant it. You get punchy on long deployments. You say dumb things to keep the nerves from getting dusty. Across the ship, life rolled on. Chow lines snaked through the mess. Powdered eggs, bacon, something that wanted to be gravy. Young sailors griped about drills, watches, and how the coffee could strip paint. Hank held court at a table. He waved a fork for emphasis. "I am telling you, that typhoon in 70-something, that wave went straight over the bow. We lost crates, lines, and one poor bastard sea bag. C took it right off the deck like a hand. "Sure, Chief," a kid said. C just reached up and grabbed it. Hank gave him a flat stare. "You stay long enough out here, you will see things you do not have words for. Afternoon, We ran a man overboard drill. Standard pain. Alarm. Shouting. Crew sprinting to stations. We dropped a dummy in the water and went through the motions. Throw rings, mark the spot, steer back, launch the boat. Cortez watched from the rail near me. "Look sharp enough," I said. "On a clear day with a floating dummy and no real panic," she replied. "Real thing never looks this clean." She was right. I had seen one real man overboard before. Everything went sideways. Loud, messy. Drill was calm. Drill was neat. We ran a quick damage control drill after. Fire party. Jose teams moving through the passageways. Breathing masks. Shouted orders. We simulated a small hull breach. Patched it with metal plates and shoring. We ended with sweat and grins. Boxes checked. On the surface, it was just another day. Blue sky. Blue water. Steel ship. Underneath, we were sliding towards something none of us had a name for yet. Rourke had pressure on him. You could feel it in the way he lingered over the message traffic. Higher command wanted clean data from the new array. Funding hinged on it. Promotions did too. Nakamura needed the test to go well. More grants, more time at sea, more gear. Science is money wrapped in numbers, same as weapons. Cortez did not like the trench area. She had said it once in sonar when it was just us. "Deep water screws with echoes," she said. "You get funny reflections. Layering. Feels wrong on the ears. Reminds me of that accident." She never said more about that, but I watched her whenever the ply got close to deep dark. Her jaw got tight. Fingers drummed on the console. Ship was calm. Crew was calm. But there was a thread under it. Tight. Waiting. We did not know it yet. First hint was a sound that is usually how it starts for sonar. Not a roar. Not some movie monster noise. Just raw patterns in a sea of background. We were doing a routine pass along the trench edge. A ray streamed astern, way back there, dragging through cold water. I sat at my console, eyes half on the screen, half on nothing. Then I heard it in the headset. Low, slow, a pulse. "Cortez, you hearing that?" I asked. She rolled her chair over, leaned in, listened. The return came again. Deep, low frequency, steady rhythm. Not random ocean noise. Not cavitation. "Mark it," she said. Log started. We watched the trace build. It was too regular to be junk. But it was not any signature we knew. Not a sub. Not a merchant ship. Not standard marine life. Nakamura leaned over the back of our chairs. She had that notebook out. "Could be a deep diving whale species," she said. "Maybe a big sperm whale. The trench could guide the sound, make it look odd." Cortez shook her head. "The pattern is wrong. And the amplitude jumps when we turn." We made a minor course adjustment. The pulse changed, like it was reacting. Cortez did not like that. I saw it in her shoulders. "Could be a reflection from the trench wall," Nakamura pushed. "Sound paths bend down there." "Maybe," Cortez said. "Or maybe something else." She stared at the screen long after the pattern faded. Up on the bridge, a different bit of weird. They picked up a radio call on an old channel, fragmented, static-laced. I was not up there for the live part, but I heard the playback later. Short, broken, hull breach, port, attack, repeat, under ATA, then nothing. No follow-up, no call sign we could lock. Comms ran checks, logged it. Looked at our traffic plots. No friendly ships close by. No merchant that matched. Nothing on radar that could have sent it. They chalked it up to some bounced old recording, a stray reflection off the ionosphere, whatever excuse fit. Stuff like that happens sometimes. Old ghosts in the radio bands. It still bothered some of us. You hear panic in a voice. You know it, even through static. Later that day, lookouts called down. Debris off the starboard side. We swung a bit to pass close. The sea carried it slow. Broken wooden crates. Bits of fishing gear. A smashed cooler. Some ropes. Hank stood near the rail, hands on the lifelines. "Probably some poor bastard fishing boat caught a storm," he said. The sea was calm now. Clear sky, nothing to blame. We fished out a life ring with a hook and line, white plastic, scuffed and torn. No clear name left, just faded letters from some forgotten port. On one chunk of wood, there were deep marks. Crescent-shaped gouges, neatly spaced, not scraped. Bite marks. Hank ran a calloused thumb along one. "I have seen nets torn by sharks," he said. "This is bigger." "You saying we have a great white playground out here, Chief?" a young seaman asked. Hank shrugged. "Fishermen in these waters vanish sometimes. Weather, pirates, bad luck. Sea takes what it wants. Always has." The kid tried to joke. "Maybe it is a kaiju zone." His laugh was thin. We logged the debris, took photos. Rourke had it all sent up the chain. He did not change course. Did not want rumors. A calm captain calms a ship. Night fell easy, stars overhead. Ship cutting through black water. In sonar, the room dimmed down. Just the green wash of screens. Most of the guys rotated out at midnight. I had last watch with Cortez. That strange pattern came back. Low pulses, flickering in and out on the edge of the trench. Cortez leaned in close to the display. "It is deeper than most recorded whales go," Nakamura said quietly. She had decided to stay late too. "Depth estimates keep going off the chart. Feels like it is sitting down in that trench," Cortez muttered. "Something big on the bottom, yawning at us." She did not raise her voice. Did not call the bridge. It was just weird data so far. No contact closing fast, no weapon, no clear threat. We marked it. Saved the logs. The younger guys still joked about ghost ships in the passageways. They said that distress call came from a dead vessel looping in time. Great story for a mid-rat snack. Their laughter did not last long. The way it sounded, they were trying to talk over their own nerves. You spend long enough at sea, you learn to listen to tone. Under the jokes, there was something tight. We all felt it. Something out there. Watching. The first real hit came early morning, before dawn. That gray hour when night and day have not decided yet. I was off watch, half asleep in my rack. Then I felt it through the hull. A jerk. Hard enough that my curtain swung and my boots shifted on the deck. General announcing system crackled. Not an alarm, just calm voices. Engineering asking about tow tension. Then the call for sonar techs to man the shack. I slid out of the rack, tugged on boots, grabbed my shirt, and moved. You learn to move before your brain is awake. In sonar, Cortez was already strapped in, face tight. The array cable tension spiked, she said as I sat, then dropped. We lost data for a few seconds. Charted obstruction? I asked. Nothing, she said. Deep water. Clean bottom on the charts. No seamounts. No wrecks known. Text reported from the towed array console. Sir, one moment we were steady. Next moment the line went heavy like we hooked something. Then it eased, but data went dead. Now it is back, but noisy. Cortez grabbed the handset. Bridge. Sonar. We might have snagged on something. Request slow down and recovery of the array to check for damage. Up top, Rourke answered. Calm as ever. Sonar. Bridge. Slow to ahead 1/3. Begin recovery. Keep me updated. The ship's vibration shifted under my feet as speed came down. On the fantail, they started reeling in the cable. Half the crew seemed to find a reason to drift back there. We all wanted to see. I went topside with Cortez under permission. Nakamura joined us. Hank was already there, leaning on the rail, watching the cable creep up out of the water. The morning was still. Sea flat. Air heavy and warm. The first sections of cable looked normal. Wet steel, submarine growth, nothing serious. Then a damaged section came up. The crew stopped the winch and swung it in with a crane. Up close, it did not look like rock damage. The steel armor around the cable was crushed in places, torn. Not scraped clean along a surface, crimped. You could see deep, evenly spaced indentations, a line of them across the diameter. You hit a container. You expect long scrapes, Hank said softly. Not this. Nakamura touched one of the marks. Her fingers shook. That pressure, she whispered. The jaw strength needed to do this to steel. Could be a freak tension event, one of the techs said fast. Maybe the winch skipped, cable twisted, kinked itself. He did not believe his own words. Hank shook his head. Something bit it. Nobody argued out loud. They tagged the section, took photos for the report. As we stood there, soaking all that in, something else settled over the stern. The sea went quiet. Not sound-wise, feeling-wise. Sailors noticed this. Swells that had been rolling steady just eased. Surface went smoother. Water looks wrong. one of the deckhands said. I leaned over the rail, peered down into that dark green. For a second, I saw it, a shadow. Way down but large enough to fill my view. Long, thick, moving slow under the hull and aft. No edges I could make sense of, just mass. It slid under us and vanished into deeper dark. Did you see that? A kid next to me hissed. Probably our own wake reflection, another said too quickly. Hank did not say anything. He just stared a long time at the ship's wash. Only a few of us caught that shape. No one ran to the captain screaming we had a sea monster on our tail. Navy does not work that way. But the rumors started for real after that. The cable looked chewed. Something big moved under us. In the mess later, someone called it the trench ghost. Another kid said, the deep thing. That one stuck. Sailors love a label. Official lines stayed clean. Rourke had the damaged section secured for later inspection. His report to command was dry. Unusual damage to towed array, possible hidden debris or structural failure, investigation ongoing. Nakamura tried to frame it as a stress failure. Steel can do strange things under tension. Everyone nodded along. Then they would walk away and look back over their shoulders at the sea. Cortez did not even bother to lie to herself. Something grabbed that cable, she said to me when we were alone in sonar. I do not care what the paperwork says. I believed her. The next move belonged to people far ashore. Rourke got a satellite message that afternoon. Secure channel. He stayed in his chair on the bridge for a long time after reading it. Then he called the officers together. We heard the gist later from Scuttlebutt. Higher command wanted more deep data. The initial returns from the trench edge looked promising for whatever research they had going. They wanted full coverage before we cleared the area. Meanwhile, the navigator had noticed we were drifting closer to uncharted deep zones. Charts in that area were not great. Big blind spots underground. Cortez went to the captain. Sir, these deeper zones, combined with the weird returns and the damaged cable, I recommend we stay in more moderate depths. At least until we understand what is down there. Rourke nodded slowly. Your concern is noted, Lieutenant. But we have orders and a window. We will make one more full run, then move on. One more run. It always starts with that. Back in sonar, things got stranger. That unknown contact showed again. At first, it was just the same low pulses. But the pattern started to shift. Now it moved. We could see a faint, slow target on the display, keeping station behind us at distance. Same bearing drift, same relative motion as a trailing contact. When we changed speed, it adjusted. When we shifted course a bit, it slid to match. Always deep, always just at the edge of clear resolution. Could be a sub shadowing us, one tech said. Cortez shook her head. No screw trace, no machinery noise. No hull echo shape that fits. It is big, but it is not a boat. Nakamura's face drained. The return shape is soft, she murmured. Diffuse edges. That is not steel. That is tissue. Whale? I asked. Too big for the frequency spread, she said. And that bite radius on the fish we saw, we had more physical evidence now. As the day went on, the crew spotted dead marine life drifting by. A big tuna, split nearly in half. A dolphin carcass, spinning slowly in the wake, with chunks missing. We hooked one onto the fantail. The smell hit us hard, rot and blood. Nakamura bent over it with gloves and a mask. The bite radius is massive, she said. Larger than any known shark species. The cuts are clean. Strong jaw closing fast. Whatever did this is not nibbling. Could it be a pod attack? Price asked. He had come out to look. Multiple sharks? She shook her head. These rows line up. One mouth. Very large. She went quiet then and pulled out a small camera. Took detailed shots of the wounds. She later took those to Rourke. I was not in the cabin, but I saw her come out. Face pale, hands still. Younger sailors started saying deep thing louder, less joking. More edge, some could not sleep. Laid there listening to the hull creak. Others got louder and dumber, making crude jokes to paper over it. Normal ship psychology. Hank added his own fuel. Some years after the war, a Japanese trawler went missing not far from here, he said one evening. Before it went off the radio, they reported a giant beast under the keel. That is what the record said, giant beast. Then static, then nothing. Come on, Chief, someone said. That is bar story stuff. Hank stared at his coffee. Maybe. Or maybe things live in deep water that do not come up often. We got the second tap not long after. Twilight. The ship had settled into survey speed again. Slow, steady pace to stream the array clean. I was in sonar when the hull jolted. Not a slam. More a heavy shudder. In my headset I heard a dull, distant thump that came through the water channel. Sonar, bridge. We felt something. Report, came the captain's voice. Cortez scanned the board. Bridge, sonar. No charted obstacles. No visible contacts at impact point. Unknown cause. We are seeing a transient contact drop off our port quarter, now reappearing starboard stern. The contact had vanished a moment before the jolt, then it popped up on the other side. Damage control reported minor dents below the waterline. No flooding. No breach, just scrapes and indents. To the crew, it felt like a warning knock. After watch, I caught a glimpse of Rourke alone on the starboard bridge wing. Staring at the sea, he had the logs. Chewed cable. Unknown deep contact. Dead animals. Light hull hit. He had every excuse to pull us off the line and head toward more crowded water, closer to help. He also had orders. Mission priority messages that mentioned funding and schedules and higher command eyes. He did not want to be the guy who bailed out early because of weird sonar and some bite marks. In the end, he chose what many captains would. He ordered one last deep pass. At night. Reduced surface noise. Cleaner data. He put the ship at a higher readiness condition. Extra watches. Damage control alert. He also told the chiefs to keep the rumors down. No ghost stories. No monster talk. Cortez was not happy. "This thing is shadowing us, Captain," she told him quietly in sonar. "It is curious at best, hostile at worst. We have weapons," he said. "We have procedures. We make this pass. We finish the job. We move on." Nakamura stood nearby, torn between fear and the pull of the science. "If we can log this animal properly," she started. Rourke cut her off with a look. "We are not here for legends, Doctor. We are here to finish a test and go home." We all went into that night with our teeth clenched. Night ops change a ship. Lights go red inside. Voices drop. Outside, the ocean turns into a black sheet with no depth. We redeployed the towed array. Carefully. Extra checks on the cable. Tension monitors up. Everyone alert. I strapped into my sonar chair. Cortez stood right behind me. Nakamura sat at a side station with her notebook open, but she barely wrote. "You feel that?" one of the other techs muttered. The whole room felt stretched, waiting for the other shoe to drop. As we settled into the run, the unknown contact showed itself again. "Got it," I said. "Bearing 210, range uncertain, depth beyond normal scale." Stronger than before. On the screen you could see a thick, fuzzy mass behind us. No crisp lines like a sub. Just heavy energy. It stayed at a steady distance, tailing our wake. When we changed speed a hair to adjust the survey pattern, the contact shifted with us. "That thing is pacing us," Cortez said. "It is not random." Nakamura swallowed. "Size estimate?" I ran a rough calculation. "Longer than a city bus. Easy. Maybe more." "Hard to lock exact. The target edges are soft." "Soft because it is flesh," she said. Time blurred. Just the hum of equipment, the soft roll of the ship, and that fat mark behind us. Then everything happened at once. The impact on the stern felt like a freight car slamming into us. The whole ship jumped. People went out of their chairs. Consoles rattled. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. The general alarm gong rang loud and steady. In sonar, my headset filled with a burst of noise. Then static. Towed array just went dead. The array tech yelled. Tension off the scale, now nothing. Cable parted. On the bridge, they saw the stern dip and foam explode behind the ship. The cable snapped. Steel whipped. Men on the fantail hit the deck, covering their heads. From the deck crew later, we got the picture. There was a column of water that shot up where the array line vanished. For a moment, something enormous broke the surface. Not a clear view. Just black mass, ragged dorsal shape, a hint of tail thrashing. No one saw the full body in that first hit, just power. In sonar, we scrambled back to the board. "The contact is right under the stern," I yelled. Close, rising. The ship shuddered again. Lesser hits, scraping along the hull plating. Bridge, sonar. Unknown large contact impacting stern area. This is not a submarine. Repeat, not a submarine, Cortez said into the mic. Her voice was flat, controlled. Damage reports started coming in. Minor flooding in a rear compartment. Pumps working. No full breach yet. Some of the repair team said they heard a scraping sound next to the hull. Heavy, rough. One petty officer later swore he heard a deep rumble coming through the metal, something that felt more than heard. Could have been his own heartbeat hammering. Could have been something else. Rourke ordered floodlights astern. I left sonar for a moment when the contact dipped away. I needed to see, needed to know what was out there. A group of us gathered near the rail. Night air was hot. Floodlights cut bright cones into the rolling wake. For a few seconds, nothing. Just white water, foam, and our own churn. Then it came up. The head broke the surface first. Huge. Blunt snout. Eyes black and small and empty. Jaws that went wider than a truck. Rows of teeth, thick and long, glinting wet under the light. Old scars ran across its face. The skin was rough, pale in some places. It rolled just enough to give us a full look at that mouth. Then it snapped at empty water and slid back down. People screamed, some froze. Some stepped back until they hit steel. Nakamura stood there, face white, lips moving. That is impossible, she whispered. That is a megalodon. It cannot be, but it is. The word hung there, megalodon. Prehistoric shark. Giant predator that should have been dead for millions of years. We all knew the basic story from TV shows and late-night specials. Some guys laughed weakly, a sharp, broken sound. You telling me we got a dinosaur shark chewing our ass? Someone said. I could not speak. My hands shook. Rourke did not care what we called it. He cared that something massive had just ripped off a piece of his ship and was coming back for more. He had two options that made any sense. Run or fight. Helm, flank speed. Come to new course away from the trench. Let us see if we can outrun this thing, he ordered first. Engines roared up. The ship surged forward. In sonar, I watched aboard. It is still behind us, I reported. Matching our speed. It can keep up. Rourke's jaw clenched. He shifted to the second option. Weapons, prepare depth charges, he ordered. Pattern behind us, safe distance from the hull. We still carried old-style underwater ordnance for anti-sub scenarios, not just fancy missiles. Heavy cans that went down and blew holes in water and steel. We dropped the first set off the stern. The sea swallowed them. Moments later, the hull shook from the blasts. Deep booms rolled through us. In sonar, the contact scattered. The trace smeared, then vanished. Contact lost, I said. No return. For a heartbeat, hope. Then a new mark appeared. Below us. Forward this time. It went under, Cortez muttered. It is using the depth to reposition. The thing was not just big. It was not just hungry. It was hunting smart. Using the trench, the layers, our own noise. Rourke stared at the plot. At the damage reports. At his shaken crew. The night was just getting started. The next hours never leave my head. They come back in dreams. Short flashes. Metal shaking. Water forcing its way in. People yelling through masks. We were not cruising anymore. We were prey. The Megalodon did not stay on one axis. It started hit-and-run attacks. First came another slam on the stern quarter. Not as hard as the first big one, but enough to rock the ship. You could feel the strain in the welds. Damage control scrambled. We had minor flooding in a different rear compartment now. Pumps hammered. Men waded in cold water up to their shins, patching, securing, shoring. Next, it struck near the propellers. I felt it through the deck, a heavy bang near the screw shafts. The whole ship vibrated ugly. In engineering, alarms lit. They reported abnormal vibration on one shaft, minor damage but still turning. If it cripples our propulsion, we are done, Cortez said quietly to me in sonar. The unknown contact would vanish, then show fast on a new bearing. It tested us. Probed. Every time it hit, more scraping sounds along the hull. Sometimes just a bump. Other times long rough grinds that made my teeth hurt. The crew started to crack. Some sailors refused to lean against outer bulkheads. They stayed tight to the center line where there was more steel between them and the water. You could hear things through the hull. At least we told ourselves we could. Soft knocks, heavy thuds. Once, a long dragging sound that reminded me of a giant chain being pulled along the outside. I know they said no metaphors. I am telling you what it felt like. People jumped at every creak, were slow to sleep. Those who did sleep jerked awake from dreams. Then we lost some of our voice. One of the attacks clipped our external antenna systems, a heavy hit near the mast and upper structure. After that, satellite comms went spotty. We could send bursts if we got the angles right, but reception was trash. We tried emergency channels, short-range stuff, but we were still far from busy shipping lanes. Even if someone heard us, they were many hours away. We were on our own for now. Casualties came next. During one repair effort in a rear compartment, the thing hit us again. Short, nasty impact near that space. A small section of hull plating bent inward. A seam popped. Water, cold and hard, surged in through a jagged gap. One sailor was thrown into a bulkhead and knocked cold. The inrushing water grabbed him, dragging him toward the hole. Another sailor caught his boot at the last second. They hauled him back as others started shoring and patching. Before they got the hatch shut for flooding control, another guy slipped in the rising water, fell, and vanished under a wave that rolled through the space. They had no time to search. They had to seal the compartment. The sound of a dogged hatch slamming on someone still inside carries a special weight. Price and his corpsman worked on the injured man in the passageway. Broken ribs, head wound. They stabilized him, but there was blood everywhere. "Tell me when this cruise gets boring again," Price said, voice shaking. No one laughed. Later that night, we had a team topside to inspect damage. Short evolution. Check the rails, look for obvious hull tears above the waterline, assess the mast. Sea looked calm, stars bright. The usual lie the surface gives. They were walking the deck, flashlights low, when the water next to the hull bulged. A head rose out of the dark, that mouth again, teeth and black eyes. It snapped at the steel just below the rail, spraying water over the deck. One sailor went down in the wash. He slid under the lower lifeline with the receding water. The shark's jaws caught him mid-scream. He was just gone. 1 second on our deck, the next a shadow under the foam. They said the water there turned red for a few long seconds. After that, no one wanted to be outside. Hell, half of us did not want to be inside either. There was no safe place on that ship. Rourke changed. You could see it. At first, he had treated this like an odd hazard. Some unknown big animal we could avoid or outrun. Watching his people die shifted something in him. His eyes went harder. "This is not a passing threat," he said in the wardroom to his officers. "This thing is treating us as prey. It is not going to lose interest." He ordered full weapons ready state. Anti-sub tubes loaded. Small arms issued to some repair teams, even though a rifle does nothing against tons of shark underwater. It was more about giving guys something to hold. In sonar, Cortez and Nakamura worked the data. "We pulled it up from the trench," Nakamura said. "Those sonar pulses, the deep patterns," it responded. At first it was curious, then territorial. Now it has decided we are food or competition. "We are in its hunting ground," Cortez muttered. And we rang its doorbell nonstop. The ship was burning fuel, trying to keep moving, keep some distance. We could not keep that up forever. Repairs were falling behind the damage. Men were tired. Sleep came in snatches between hits. Rourke knew we could not run forever. "We need to kill it," he finally said, "or at least hurt it enough that it stops chasing." It was a crazy sentence. Killing something that size with what we had was not simple, but doing nothing was worse. We were out of clean choices. The plan they came up with was ugly and simple. That is usually the good kind in a fight. Rourke pulled Cortez and Nakamura into the wardroom along with the navigator and weapons officer. I got the brief later, standing in the back with some of the other techs. "We cannot stay in this deep open water," Rourke said. "It has room to maneuver, room to come from any angle. We need to restrict its space." The navigator pulled out charts. "There is a seamount to the northeast, shallower water around it. Rocky bottom. Still deep enough for us, but tighter for something that large." Cortez pointed to the map. If we go there and use loud sonar pulses and some recorded sound, we might be able to lure it along. It responds to noise. It came for the array. It came after the depth charges. Nakamura nodded. We have recordings of distressed whale calls. Unpleasant stuff. Combine that with active pings and it will follow. Curiosity, hunger, aggression, whatever drives it. Once we have it over that seamount, the weapons officer said, we drop a tight pattern of depth charges. Maybe fire a short-range anti-sub torpedo down there too. If the charges do not kill it, the blast might disorient it long enough for a solid hit. The rock walls will funnel the shock, Cortez added. Less room for it to run from the blast wave. Rourke listened, looked each of us in the eye. Risks? He asked. Plenty, Cortez said. If we misjudge the depth, we could damage our own hull. If the creature gets under us at the wrong moment, it might hit us again before we can drop the pattern. Staying out here is worse, Rourke said. We bleed out, one compartment at a time. He stood. Then we set the trap. He had the crew mustered in groups by division. Explained the plan in plain words. No fancy talk. We are going to lead this thing into an area where we have the advantage, he said over the announcing system. We will use noise to pull it where we want it. Then we hit it with everything we have. Our goal is simple. Survive. Hearing there was a plan helped. Guys had been wandering between fear and helpless anger. Now they at least had a direction to point both. We turned toward the seamount. Engines pushed hard. In sonar we started broadcasting. Active pings. Loud, measured blasts of sound into the deep. They rolled back through the hull in steady thumps. We also played recorded distressed whale calls through the underwater speakers. Those recordings always bothered me. Animals screaming through water they cannot escape. Now we use them as bait. Contact is following, I reported. Range shortening slowly. It is closing. The Megalodon kept after us. We saw more small bumps on the hull like it was staying close enough to remind us it was there. Morale was hanging by threads and chewing gum, but at least now each jolt had a purpose in people's minds. The sea around the seamount rose slowly under the keel. Depth numbers came up on the displays. Approaching shallower water, Captain, the navigator said. Bottom still safe for us. Rough terrain. Cortez watched the sonar returns. The contact is below and astern, she said. It is coming up with us, not dropping away. Good, Rourke said. Keep the noise going. Prepare weapons. We slowed slightly as we neared the kill zone. Needed control now more than speed. In sonar, I could see it. The mass that haunted us, now directly under the ship, closer than ever. Strong return. Depth approximately this, I called out, using relative numbers. It is almost under our keel. Rourke stood on the bridge, one hand on the rail. Depth charges ready? He asked. Ready, came the answer. Torpedo tube set, short-range anti-sub armed, downward vector programmed. On my mark, we drop a full pattern and fire the fish. Back in sonar, the contact surged closer. It is right under us now, I said. This is as close as I would want it, sir. Rourke gave the order. Drop. Fire. The stern crews kicked the charges off in a tight planned pattern around the last known spot. A mechanical clatter, heavy bodies rolling into water. The torpedo shot down its tube, into the depths below us. Its engine lit and it raced toward the programmed point, a hot metal streak in cold water. Moments stretched, then the ocean blew up. The shockwave hit the hull like a giant hand. Lights flickered, plates groaned. People grabbed whatever they could. In sonar, all returns went white for a moment. Systems overloaded on the noise. Then, slowly, things cleared. Contact is jerking, I said. Strong movement, like it is thrashing. We watched the mark on the screen twist, then start to sink. It is going down, Cortez breathed. It is dropping. Fast. Cheering started in little pockets across the ship. Weak at first, then stronger. Hold it, Rourke said. Watch the plot. We do not celebrate until it is gone. For a minute, the target kept falling. Then it started to fade from the display. Signal strength dropping, I said. Could be it is too deep, or it is dying, or both. Then we lost it. No more return. Contact lost, I reported. The bridge let out a collective breath. Maybe we had killed it. Maybe we had just wounded it bad enough that it sank to the bottom of the seamount and stayed there. We had no time to confirm. As we began a slow turn to clear the area, it came back for one last shot. Sonar picked up a sudden spike. New contact, close, beneath the bow, I yelled. Before we could adjust, the Megalodon rammed us from below and forward. The impact on the bow was savage. Metal screamed, decks bucked. People went to the deck hard. Up forward, the hull split open in a ragged line. Water roared in. The bow dipped. On the main deck, you could see the forward section sag. Men scrambled for footing as gear slid toward the low end. In Combat Information Center, voices overlapped, flooding alarms. Power fluctuation warnings. Rourke grabbed the mic. Damage control, report, he barked. Forward compartments flooding, came the reply. Trying to get bulkheads sealed. We have serious structural damage, but the main spine is holding for now. Evacuation routes shifted on the spot. People clambered over tilted decks. Some slipped and smashed into steel. Others carried wounded on improvised stretchers. On the bridge, glass had cracked. One of the panels was starred but intact. Rourke did not leave his post. He kept one hand on the chart table, the other on the mic. Helm, bring the bow up any way you can. Use ballast. Engines worked astern to counter the sink, he ordered. It was a risky maneuver. Shifting ballast and power while already hurt can snap a ship if you're unlucky. But letting the bow go under was worse. Engineers sweated in the hot, cramped spaces. Adjusted pumps, shifted water loads, managed thrust. Slowly, the bow came up a little. Not much, enough to stop the slide for the moment. In sonar, I looked for the contact. For a bit, I saw it. Faint. Rising a little, then dropping. It moved slower now. Contact is weak, I said. Movement irregular. Could be in its death throes. A few moments later, it vanished off our board for good. No more thumps on the hull, no new returns closing. Just the hum of our own wounded ship. We had hurt it bad. Maybe killed it. It had hurt us too. The fight was over. The struggle to keep the Farragut afloat was not. We limped out of that sector. The Farragut was a mess. Boat chewed and flooded, stern scraped and dented, several compartments full of seawater, pumps running nonstop, portable gear deployed everywhere. We had dead, we had missing, we had wounded. The noise level on the mess decks dropped to almost nothing. No more wild jokes, no more loud music, just low talk and the clatter of trays, sometimes just silence. Price moved from space to space, checking on the injured and the ones not injured but frayed. Bandages, painkillers, quiet words. He looked 10 years older in one day. Eventually, we got closer to busier sea lanes. The antenna repairs held enough for a solid distress call to go out. A nearby U.S. ship responded. Then a helo. Seeing that helicopter overhead was the first time I relaxed even a little. That sound meant we were not alone out there anymore. They winched off some of the worst casualties. Later, they started transferring some of us, group by group, once it was clear the Farragut was not going to sink outright. Tugs and a support vessel eventually took our girl in tow for the long crawl back to a yard. Then came the part that still pisses me off, debrief. We had a line of people in uniforms with more stripes and stars than sense walk aboard. They photographed everything. Measured bite marks in the cable, dents in the hull, what was left of the damaged gear. Rourke, Cortez, Nakamura, and a bunch of others sat through interview after interview. They told the truth. A giant shark that fit every physical clue of a megalodon. Impossible size. Deep water behavior. Direct attacks on the hull. They had sonar logs. Photo evidence of the bitten array. Dead animals with wounds too large for known species. Some of the investigators listened with straight faces. Others gave that look you reserve for drunks and crazies. In the official report drafts that leaked back down to us, the language changed. Unidentified underwater object. Possible undersea landslide event causing unusual pressure impacts. Potential collision with uncharted debris or geological formation. No one wrote monster shark tried to eat one of our destroyers. They were not going to put that in a file that could end up on some desk in the Pentagon. It did not fit the world they wanted on paper. Some of our own crew started to doubt. Memory is mud. You see something that should not exist, and later you wonder if shock and fear twisted it. Others, like me, never doubted once. Cortez kept her own private copies of the sonar data burned onto media tucked away. I saw her do it. Nakamura kept photos, bites in steel, cuts in flesh, measurements scribbled in her notebook. She told me once, months after, in a quiet bar, "They will bury this. They always do. But I know what I saw, and I know it was not alone." Rourke played the game, signed the papers, and used the words they wanted: collision, unknown object, all of that. But every once in a while he would stare off at the nearest body of water with his jaw set tight. He knew. Years passed, we scattered. Different ships, different jobs. Some got out of the service. I still kept in touch with a few, including Nakamura. One day, I got an encrypted message from her. Short note, a test image of an email she had received from a research station in the Pacific. A friend of hers there had sent her a quiet heads up, no big report. Just a line. They had picked up strange low-frequency pulses near another trench. Far from the one we had been near in 1998, pattern was irregular but strong, deeper than most known life. Big. She did not write much below that. Just, "You see this?" I stared at the screen a long time. My hands shook the same way they had on that night in sonar. Maybe we killed one. Maybe we just pissed it off. Maybe there are more. Things that stayed deep during all our history. Too deep for our nets, our eyes, our cameras. The sea looks calm when you stand on a shore or a deck, blue, open, empty on top. But I have seen what moves under that skin. When I stand on a beach now and look out, I do not see peace. I see that shadow sliding under a steel hull, jaws closing on cable and bone and metal. People tell sea stories around fires and bars. They laugh. Talk about ghosts and mermaids and giant squid. Sometimes they ask me for mine. I tell them about the Farragut. I tell them how, in late summer of 1998, east of Guam, a U.S. destroyer went toe-to-toe with something the world says does not exist. And I tell them this: the ocean is big, deeper than any chart you have held, older than our ships, our guns, our ideas about what is real. We are visitors on the surface. Down below, in the dark, other things own it. So that's the end of our video. If you made it this far, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free. And if you want more terrifying encounters like this one, check out the other videos on screen right now. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there. See you soon.